This is part one of the Full and Bloom interview with tour manager Doug Goodman. More info at fullandbloom.com. There was a rumor, and maybe you would kind of at least maybe not know the answer, but at least have an opinion on it. But there was a rumor about this whole Mötley Crüe, Def Leppard, Poison Stadium tour that was happening. Of course, they still are saying, we'll let you know. I mean, they haven't canceled that yet.
Here's what's going on with all of this stuff, because Guns is the same way. If you go on the Live Nation website right now, because I did this yesterday, actually. If you go on the web to Ticketmaster, you can buy tickets to any of those fucking shows. The reason why they haven't canceled/postponed is twofold. A, they haven't got any fucking ethics, morals, or scruples. If they did, they would do what Bon Jovi did and what Roger Waters did and what I'm sure other people have done, which is cancel. Complete and total cancellation. Here's your money back. They don't want to do that because all the money that people have paid for tickets for that tour, which I would have to think that's probably close to sold out. So there's a fucking shitload of money paid in tickets sitting in an escrow account that's conveniently operated by the company that sells tickets that is technically different from Live Nation, but is coincidentally owned by the same people, Ticketmaster. We're going to postpone instead of cancel, because if you cancel, you have to give all the money back.
Right.
If you postpone, you still have to give all the money back if people want it, but you word all your announcements in such a way. You know, you might even specifically say you're not giving refunds, but legally, technically, you have to. But people now have to jump through some hoops, and most people are lazy, and they're not going to jump through the hoops. And even if they start to jump through the hoops, they get fucking annoyed being on hold and not getting responses to emails, and they'll fucking hang up the phone and bitch to their wife about it instead of get their actual money. And part of why there's no announcement yet is because the nature of doing a stadium tour, you're playing stadiums, which generally speaking are where the baseball teams play. Well, the 2021 baseball schedule doesn't exist yet. They never announce it until later in the year. It exists probably to the extent that if this was a normal year, they could schedule concerts next summer. But because it's not a normal year, the baseball teams aren't going to let go of their dates because they don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Like right now, I think baseball's going to go away completely. But if it doesn't go away completely, whatever happens, they have to be aware and cognizant of and deal with other things that are in their venues. You know, if the world does open up again, if baseball decides, okay, we're just going to play whatever dates are remaining in our schedule the way they are, and the uneven schedule be damned. Okay, fine, that's what they do. That's easy. If they decide to redo the schedule to make it more fair to all the teams, they can't play at Fenway on September 1st because Aerosmith is already there, you know, or second or whatever they thought, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's stuff already scheduled in their venues. So next year, they don't know what's going on yet. So they're not allowing anybody to schedule in their venue. All those fucking bands are trying to schedule dates. I'm sure Roger Waters, Pink, you know, all of them, they all love the schedule. But the Los Angeles Dodgers aren't going to give them that date until they know with 1,000% certainty that they're going to have the date to give. Major League Baseball wants to have the entire schedule to play with. They don't want to have to deal with all these other little things. So that's why they're not announcing anything, because they don't want to announce it. When they postpone it, they want to postpone it with a date.
Right.
Please move the show here, because that'll pacify the audience. The people who, for whatever reason, know they can't go that day, well, they're going to complain, but everybody else is going to go, because most people aren't going to know, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing in a year. Most people are going to go, oh, that sucks, but okay, cool. We'll just go then. We'll plan around that. We'll make sure we can go. And if somebody else is like, well, I can't go because that's my parents' 50th anniversary and I love them more than Mötley Crüe, which isn't true, but you know what I mean? So they don't want to announce dates until they announce a postponement until they have a new date. but they're not going to get a new date. So they're ultimately going to announce a postponement with a TBD, and that's going to annoy everybody. Then everybody's going to start wanting their money back. And it ultimately comes down to they don't want to give their fucking money back. And that's why they're not saying anything.
Yeah, so...
Because there's no way of fuck. The Mötley Crüe tour starts in like 3 weeks, doesn't it?
Right, yeah. Yeah,
it's like, obviously, hello.
Right. And so I'm just curious, when the money's sitting in
that's the fact that Mick Mars is going to fucking die of something anyway. That motherfucker's in bad shape. But I've been saying that for 10 years and I've been wrong. So
when the money's sitting in an escrow account, is it collecting interest meanwhile?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So they're making money by just holding on to it as well.
Exactly.
And so,
I mean, you buy it, you're not getting you may get 100% back, including your fees, but you're certainly not getting a profit. And you're going to have to fight for those. They're probably going to give you shit about some of the fees. It might even say on them when you purchase. I went to buy a Guns ticket because I just wanted to see if you could. And it's like the cheap seats at whatever random show I picked were $59. So I picked 2 of them. My $59 tickets for 2 of them was $176 fucking bucks. I don't know where you went to school, but where I go to school, 59 times 2 is not 170 fucking 6. But all those goofy fucking fees that I don't pay, because when I want to go to a show, I just call somebody and say, hey, can you get me in? And when they say yes, sometimes I have to pay, but I just give my credit card and I pay. I don't know what it fucking costs. I don't even fucking care. That's, I don't ask anybody for free tickets if I'm not willing to give my credit card. It's like, but I don't go through those systems, so I don't see all those little fucking nickel and dimey bullshit fees. The last Green Day tour in the U.S., we actually had a run-in. I had arguments with promoter people over the fact. It was a Live Nation tour generally, a couple shows that weren't. But our tickets were no fee. So when you went on the website to buy a Green Day ticket, it cost whatever it cost.
And that's because the band wanted it that way?
Yeah. But here's the thing. There were fees. You just didn't know about it as a fan. You paid $40 for a ticket. When I settled the show, that $40 ticket went into my settlement as a $32 ticket because there was an $8 fee. So you paid a total, no fee, and then I dealt with the part post fee. You just didn't know that the fee was there. And then our argument with them was, I can't remember if it was like every Tuesday or maybe it was the month of July. There was like there was a time frame when they sold tickets with no fee. So a $50 Weezer ticket would cost you $58 because of the fee. But during the no fee time period, the $50 Weezer ticket cost you $50. Well, the $40 Green Day ticket cost $40 the entire time because you weren't paying a fee. But my argument was that $40 ticket's going into my settlement as a $32 ticket. During the tickets that were sold during that time frame, they should be going into my settlement as a $40 ticket. Well, but you guys don't have any fees. Right. So why are you fucking taking out a fee? Well, that was the agreed upon number. Well, yeah, but it was agreed upon number because there are fees. We're just hiding our fees from our fans because we like our fans. It's like if you go someplace and buy, furniture stores, we'll pay the tax. Well, they're not paying the tax. They're selling you something tax included. They're not paying tax on the $100. They're paying tax on the $91.12 or whatever the fuck it is to make the tax add up to $100. So this is probably a terrible conversation for an interview now. Sorry.
No. This is the kind of shit that I'm fascinated by.
I think all of those tours everything's going to go away. I think it's quite probable, probable that I, as a professional roadie, will not have a job the rest of this year at all. I think that it's possible that all fucking Pumpkin shows are going to go away. George Lopez shows are going to go away. Every other fucking band I could possibly work for, if they called me, they're not going to call me because they don't have any fucking shows either. I don't think there's going to be anything touring this year. I hope I'm wrong because I don't make any money if I'm right, but I think I'm right. And then when it comes to all the other stuff, that's it. Postponement is just a bullshit way to keep the fucking money while they're tap dancing, trying to keep your money. And good for them. I mean, I would probably do the same thing. Actually, I wouldn't. But I mean, I get it. I understand the logic.
Sure.
But
yeah, I figured.
Like the Pumpkins are playing Memphis in May, which is it's technically called the Beale Street Festival, but it happens during this big event in Memphis called Memphis in May, and it lasts for pretty much the whole month. There's all kinds of things. So Beale Street has been moved to October. And we're also playing this thing called the Shaky Knees Festival, which is the stupidest fucking name for a festival ever. It's even worse than Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza at least sounds like it means something. It's in October. It's supposed to be in May, and now it's been moved to October. And I hope it happens because, again, I'd like to get paid. But ultimately, you're taking... I mean, you've been to a festival or two in your life, and you live in fucking Colorado Springs, so you know what the weather can do. The high on October 16th last year was 43 fucking degrees, which you live in Colorado Springs, so you might think 43 degrees is fucking warm. It's not. It's like, come on, just fucking cancel this stupid thing.
So if you were a betting man, what would your prediction be? How do you think the live music future will unfold if you were just to make a prediction?
I mean, it'll all come back.
Of course, but how long? Like when you talk to either a friend or when you talk to one of the musicians?
I have no idea. Right. Most of my friends are actually working. Not my touring friends, nobody's working. Like, no roadie in the world is working right now. The only ones who aren't destitute are the ones who work for bands like the fucking Goo Goo Dolls, put their entire crew on retainer for the rest of the year, which is fucking great. Good for them. And at their choosing, like as soon as this happened, they reached out to their management and they said, what can we do to help our crew? And they came upon a number, and everyone in their crew is getting paid a weekly salary.
Wow.
I don't know what it is in comparison to what they normally make, but it's definitely more than the zero that I'm getting. I don't mean that as a disrespect to the Pumpkins or George. I don't expect them to pay me. My situation with those bands is different. If you work for a band like the Goo Goo Dolls, you were planning on touring all year. You work for them probably every year. That's a band that's more of they work. They every year they go do their stuff. The Pumpkins, they kind of hiccup here and there, and I don't work for George Lopez necessarily. I work at his shows and I charge him for it, but it's like, it's all good. I heard Metallica laid everybody off. So if you were working for Metallica, you're not working anymore. But I guess if you took the Metallica gig and you had a chance for the Goo Goo Dolls gig, you're a little bummed with yourself now. Every organization is different, and it just is what it is. The Goo Goo Dolls don't owe their crew anything, but it's nice that they want to take care of them. Metallica doesn't owe their crew anything either, and so they did. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, we all get paid for our gig, and that's all we deserve. If somebody wants to give us something on top of that, well, good. That's nice. But it's nothing that anybody should expect. None of the famous rock stars or musicians or actors or fucking whoever. It's not the Los Angeles Dodgers' fault that the peanut vendor doesn't have a fucking gig. If the Dodgers want to give the peanut vendor some money because he doesn't have a gig, well, that's nice of them. But, if the peanut vendor expects it, well, fuck him.
One thing that I just was wondering, back to that Mötley Crüe tour, and I just want to know if this would be like a normal request or if they would ever, like Live Nation would actually do that. But there was a rumor kind of in that beginning when Mötley Crüe was going to do the comeback. Then there was an article that came out about, but then they wanted Vince Neil to lose a ton of weight and Tommy Lee to go to treatment. Is that something that would be like a request from a promoter?
I mean, it certainly would be discussed behind the scenes on some level, but whether or not it actually, I don't see it being in paper anywhere. I could certainly see there being conversations, but Tommy Lee isn't going into fucking rehab to do a fucking Mötley Crüe tour. He might go into rehab because his fucking son kicked his ass and his new wife wants to leave him or something like that. I don't fucking know. Doing that kind of shit, my slim dealings with Tommy Lee in my life, he actually played drums on one of the Pumpkins records, actually.
Right.
A couple years ago. I forget which one. so he came to a couple shows. Super nice guy. My dealings with him, but his my vision of Tommy Lee is that he's 12 because he can be. He always has been, so he always gets to be. And when a 12-year-old is told he can't have a fucking cookie, the first thing he's going to do is figure out how to get a fucking cookie. You know what I mean? Fuck you, going to rehab, motherfucker. He fucking downs a bottle and takes a fucking another hit. You know, it's like, so.
Yeah, I think that was more
conversations in the same way that like Axl and Duff. Like I said, I mean, my vision is that Duff told Axl to straighten his shit up, or he wasn't going to do it. And Duff has the power because the band doesn't exist without the three of them, and Slash wouldn't stay without Duff. That's my vision, and I don't think I'm wrong. You know, so Axl has to keep Duff happy so that he can keep Slash happy, and so he shows up on time. He may not want to fucking show up on time, but he's making a shitload more money with those two motherfuckers on stage with them than he was making on his own. And the thing is with Tommy Lee is I don't think Tommy Lee is in a similar situation. If the rest of the band says, well, we're not doing it if he's not fucking straight, well, that's one thing. But the rest of the band ain't going to do that because they're just not. There's not, you know, I don't know. I don't know their finances as well as I think I know the Guns' finances. But I just don't see it happening. I don't see him. They're not that sort of band. It's like even if he fucking goes to rehab, he's going to fall off the wagon 2 weeks into the tour anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was even more like Vince Neil had complained, like, because I think the initial thing was that they just wanted Vince to kind of sober up and then lose weight, you know, because he ballooned up.
See, and I could see the conversation being, so Vince, man, so we're thinking, you know, I mean, if we could get you on a little bit of a regime, you know, and lose like 20 pounds, you know, maybe 50 pounds. I mean, not saying you're fat or anything, but, and Vince's answer was, yeah, fuck you, I'll fucking lose 50 pounds when Tommy stops fucking drinking.
Right. That's what it kind of seemed like.
About that. Yeah. No, I mean, certainly all of that stuff would be good for the entity that is Mötley Crüe, but whether or not any of it's going to happen, I doubt it.
It was rumored that they got like 150 million. What does that mean? It pays out per gig, and then what do you think is like just a guesstimate, like on a gig, and what a band's take is after they paid, you know, to get there and the crew and all the other shit and take in money from merch as well.
It's so widely varied. I don't even know how to answer because, like, I don't know what tickets cost. Ultimately, I mean, you know, they could easily make $1 million doing an arena show. I mean, you know, stadium shows, there's a lot more expensive and stuff too, but I mean, they could be paying a band $3 or $4 million for a stadium show, the bands, you know, total, depending on ticket, you know, what the tickets cost and what the expectation is of actual sales and stuff. I could easily see, I mean, how many shows are there on the tour?
Well, I can't, you know, like 50 or something. I think they extended
it. If there's 50 shows, then sure, I could see $150 million guarantee. Absolutely. It goes back to all those other numbers I was talking about. You know, the demographic who's going to see, who is it? Mötley Crüe, Def Leppard, Poison?
Yeah, and Joan Jett.
And Joan Jett. I love Joan Jett. Joan Jett walked into my office one day when I was on the Green Day tour. She was our opening act for a while. Joan Jett walked into the office, and she walked through the production office, and my office was like, you know, on the side of the production office, and she poked her head in the door, and she said, "Hi, Doug, how are you today?" And I was like, "I'm great, thanks, how are you?" And she was like, you know, "Just got here." I said, "Cool." And then she left, and I was sort of peering out my office waiting for her to leave and get further down the hallway, and then I went out and I jumped around like a little fucking girl. I think Joan Jett fucking knows my name. What fucking cool is that? And I was always getting shit from promoters about how much they were getting paid. And they were like, "Oh, you know, Joan Jett does not deserve the guarantee that you know, she's not selling any tickets." I was like, "Yeah, but she's Joan fucking Jett, so fuck off. We like her." But yeah, the demographic of people who are going to see that show is fucking drunk people, you know, and they're going to get hammered in the fucking parking lot. And then they're going to come in and they're going to spend the whole fucking 4 hours they are there in line for fucking $12 beer with fucking collectible Mötley Crüe cups. It's just like, you know. So Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to do $20 a fucking head in alcohol. If there's 20,000 people there, they're going to sell it. They're going to gross $1 million in fucking alcohol.
What's the cost of a band to put on that show? If you were just to guess, like minus whatever, and then also they getting merch on top of that, guaranteed, say, $3 million per show.
Oh yeah, the band's making $3, and I'm figuring that all the bands are making $3 combined. Like Mötley Crüe is getting 1.75, and or 1.5, and Def Leppard's getting 750, and fucking Poison's getting $500,000, and Jones getting $50,000. Or something. Those numbers don't add up. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just like, maybe $150,000. It's like, but they're all making money. Mötley Crüe are spending a fucking fortune on pyro. Def Leppard spending, they're all spending pyro. They're all got fucking crews. I mean, there's a lot of fucking money being spent out there.
Right.
But there's a lot of fucking money being made, and they're doing $10, $15, $20 a head in alcohol, and they're doing another $10 or $15 a head in merch. And, yeah, there's a lot of fucking money, man. A lot of fucking money, So, and it all depends. It's like, it's so wide and so varied. There's no way to really, for me to make up the numbers even. It's like, I have no idea what tickets cost for that show. I assume the front rows are $500 or something, and the lawn seats are $40.
Oh, I'm sure it's astronomical. But, but I mean more like just if a band's take is like $1 million, is it like a 20% thing? Like
when you look at a band getting paid, they're losing 30% of it to commission. Between their booking agent, their manager, their business manager, their lawyer, there's probably at least 22%, maybe as much as 30% disappear into commission. Yeah. That $1 million turns into $750,000, boom, instantly. And then you've got, I took 45 people to Australia last time I went to Australia with Green Day. And so it's like, there were 7 guys in the band. There was, I'm not even talking about the family. I was talking about people who were getting paid. A round trip ticket in business class was $5 or $6 grand, and there was like 12 of us flying business, So I spent $80,000 fucking dollars. I chartered a fucking plane one time for Green Day to fly from Paris to London and back because it was cheaper for me to fly a charter jet to go to the Tonys for them to perform than it was to fly business class on Air France. So I mean, I spent $50,000 to fucking fly to do the Tonys. It's crazy, man. The money is just crazy, and it's just like it depends on how much you want. It's like you could have. I mean, like every time you see a pyro flash go off, it's like
that's money.
It's like across a stadium, there's 20 fucking boom, 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 boom. Well, just to do one of those booms, it might be $150, and there's 20 of them. So there you go. It just costs you $3,000 for a 3-second fucking effect.
Right.
And it's like, and you might do it 4 times during the show. You had to test it in the afternoon to show the fucking fire marshal that it works correctly. Right. So 4 times in the show and 1 time to test it. You have to test everything. You might not have to test all 20 of them because depending on how much of an asshole the fire marshal is, but you still have to spend $150 to test one of them, show them that you know what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera. Last time I did pyro, I haven't taken pyro on many shows. Pumpkins aren't into that stuff. But Green Day, Trey like to blow shit up. And, we spent, I want to say we spent like $1 million in pyro on one tour.
God damn.
But the thing is like $1 million. It sounds like a lot of money. But if you got 50 shows, that's only $20,000 a show. And $20,000 is a lot of money too. But $20,000, if tickets are $50, that's only 40 fucking tickets. There are 400 tickets. So it's like $20,000 is a lot of fucking money, but like, we sold 65,000 tickets at Milton Keynes 2 nights. So we sold 130 fucking thousand tickets. And if, pyro was $50,000 for that show because it's a bigger show, well, 1,000 tickets at $50, boom, just pay for your pyro. There's still 62,000 tickets left. That's the thing you have to look at. You just average Joe doesn't know anything about how to settle a rock show. go onto the fucking site for a band. You know where they're playing. You know, fucking Fiddler's Green holds 17,000 or whatever the fuck Fiddler's Green holds. You know, it's like lawn seats are $40. Well, 12,000 of those 17 are on the lawn, or 10, or whatever the fuck it is. So $40 times 10,000. You know, it's a decent amount of money. And then the seats are more. The seats are more. Da 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 da. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, that shit band I've never barely heard of, if they sell all the tickets, are going to gross $1.2 million. You know, the band's going to get paid a good percentage of that $1.2 million because the assumption is that, you know, the booking agent wants all the ticket money because he's not getting any of the beer money. You know? Kid Rock did a tour years ago, and it was a big deal because it was like $20 tickets kind of thing, you know? Yeah. And it was good. No disrespect to Kid Rock, even though he's a fucking trumper, but it's like, at the end of the day, the reason he could do a $20 ticket is because he was getting a cut of the beer. And the reason why the promoter would let him do a $20 ticket and give him a cut of beer was because he knew his fucking fans would drink more beer than any fucking band ever going to drink. So they were all making fucking money. It's all about the money. Everything is about the money. The whole world is about the money.
And back in the old days, it was kind of more, touring was in the 80s and even into the 90s, it was more kind of just breaking even, wasn't it? That they weren't making a ton of money like they do. Like now, it's their bread and butter, correct?
I think it's always been their bread and butter. They just didn't acknowledge it. It's more their bread and butter now because nobody sells records anymore, is the argument. But everybody fucking sells whatever else they sell. Like, the people are still buying their music. You know, they're paying for it differently. Whether or not the bands are getting as much of it as they used to get or not, I don't know, man. It's like, the thing in the news today is that Spotify signed Joe Rogan for $20 million.
I saw that.
So all kinds of fucking musicians bitching about it on Twitter about how, you know, it's like 50 billion spins. Like, you'd have to, if you're a musician, to get paid $20 million, you need 50 billion.
Well, part of it is like, being owned by the label. The label uses like outdated contracts to say, hey, we don't have to pay you on this shit. So they pay like the new artists.
That's the thing. It's like musicians are getting fucked every way they can get fucked. The same way that everybody gets fucked every way they can get fucked.
In 1984, I saw Van Halen had floor seats for like $25 or so.
And I mean, they certainly didn't make as much money as they make now, but that's because in 1984, nobody thought people would pay $50. But that's why touring music is never going to go away, because the world figured out that we won't stop. We, as the fan, we need our music. I'm a fan. Like, my first tour was with Slayer, but I wasn't like this professional roadie who toured with Slayer. I was a fucking a metal fan who I was buddies of the Slayer guys. That's the legend. It's like, you know, he was friends with them, and then he did their first couple of tours and da-da-da-da-da. And that's true, but it skips over the part about, well, how do you become friends with them? You know, the logical assumption is, oh, yeah, he was friends with those guys. Oh, they must have gone to school together or something, right?
You're standing in line at a Laz Rocket concert. That's the reality.
Right? Yeah. That's it. That's the reality. The reality is that I'm a fucking groupie. And because I'm a male, I became a roadie. If I was a girl, I'd have fucking learned how to give head better. You know? It's like, that's the thing. It's like, I'm a total fucking fan. And so I'm aware of the fact that none of this shit happens without the fans, and it's always gonna happen because of the fans. If the world literally goes to hell, okay, like, whatever's going on now continues to the point that the world goes to hell. Like, there's no more power. You know, the internet disappears, mobile phones don't work, satellites crash to the ground, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we fall back into the dark ages. You know what they had in the dark ages? They had touring minstrels, because there's always been live fucking music. People want it. They want it like they want air. They need it like they need air and water.